What up, YouTube fam? We're about to go in on Real Talk with ReZsaun. Thank you so much for joining. Been anywhere in the world, but you are here with me, and I appreciate that. It's about to go down. Thank you so much for joining me. Trying to get this camera straight so y'all can see me good. All right. I already did the preview on my Facebook page. So with that being said, hey, who's that? Thank you, subscriber. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please share it out. Let the world know that Real Talk with ReZsaun is about to go down. Just got to get it rolling on my Facebook page. If this is your first time watching, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate that. Appreciate the love and the support. You know, we do this every week, well, every other week sometimes. I've been doing it every other week now. I'm trying to get back into it. I haven't been doing as much as I used to do it. But just getting it rolling on both my Facebook page as well as my YouTube. So I'll be running the YouTube and the Facebook both at the same time. And I'm about to open up for my Facebook viewers. So you're going to hear me do my intro. Hello, world, and welcome back to Real Talk with ReZsaun, where nothing's off limits. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with me, and I appreciate that. Now, today's show is about to be bananas, and I'm going to tell you why. It's going to be bananas because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. It's a lot of sad news out there, and we're going to definitely touch on that. We're going to talk about some good news as well. But before we even get started, I'd like to take about a minute, 2 minutes to share this video out and ask you to also share this video out with your friends, because I believe that we're gonna be having some discussions that your friends and your social media followers would be very interested in talking about. We're gonna be talking about the debates. We're gonna be talking about the president. We'll be talking about our former president. We'll be talking about relationships. We'll be talking about so many things. Please join us. So I'm gonna take about a couple minutes just to share this out, get people watching. All right, I'll start a little watch party. All right, we'll get it going. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and then we're gonna get started. All right, it's about to go down. It's about to go down. What up, y'all? What up? What up? What up? Thank you guys for coming in. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for coming in. Get out of my way. Nah, that's in the wrong place. What's up? What's up? What's up? As you guys are coming in, please say something. I wanna engage you in discussion. I'm still loading, so sharing it out to friends. So we're about to get started. If you're watching replay, just skip ahead like 2 minutes, and then we're gonna get going. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for watching. What's up? To the YouTube person watching, say something, because I'm not used to doing it on YouTube, so I'm not used to, to actually having a follower on there. So if say something so I can acknowledge your comment. Also, during the show, if you have any questions, please feel free to share those. I love your questions. I love answering your questions. Thank you guys so much. As you come in, say hello. Let me know you're here. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to engage you. All right. I'm sharing the video out. And once I get the video shared, we're going to get started. Once I get the video started, we're going to get going. What up, though? Share. On my page. Me. We are live. What up? What up? What up? Thank you guys for coming in. Thank you for joining us. We are live, baby. We are live. What's going on? What's going on? Start a watch party. Yeah. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties. We are live. Join us. Boom. All right. Yo, make sure y'all not on the internet, okay? All right. We're about to get rolling. Get in here. What up, Brian? Mr. Howard, what's going on? All right. All right. Let me get my script and we're ready. 1, 2, 3. Hello, world, and welcome back to Real Talk with ReZsaun with Nothing's Off Limits. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with me, and I appreciate that. Now, here on Real Talk, everything's debatable. So on any given week, we could be discussing anything from sports to music to politics. You name it, we'll discuss it. Now, for those who are new to the show, I break my show down into sections. The first part of the show is special events, current events, and topics. The second segment of my show is my relationship/family segment, followed by an audience question and answer segment. So if you would like to ask a question or they do comments throughout the show, so I will answer your comments throughout the show. But if you have a specific question that you'd like me to answer, I will open up the show to taking live questions on the air. So please, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the comment section because I want to engage you, the viewer. I want to thank you again for watching. I know that it's been more sporadic recently on the show than it normally has been in previous years, but it's a lot going on. So I'm trying to get back to doing the show at least every other week because I enjoy doing the show and I believe you enjoy watching the show. So with that being said, let's get started. The first thing I want to talk about was the mass shootings that were happening. It's crazy that in 2019 we're still engaging this issue of mass shootings. So I wanted to start the show, and I like to do live research. It may not be the best way to do the show, but I like to talk about things from a standpoint of learning about it and talking about it, right? So I don't want to just be spouting off at the mouth and giving you information that one you already have, but I really want to engage these discussions and then turn these discussions into something that we can use in a substantive or beneficial manner to carry the conversation forward and figure out where do we go from here. So I'm looking at this article. It says 2 mass shootings in less than a day leave at least 29 dead and 50 injured. I'm going to share that link right here. I'm going to share that link right here. What up, Kenny? I see you. Hey, Mike, what's going on? Finally got it out. That's what's up. So yeah, this is the article that I'm coming from. So I'm going to read a little bit of the article for you guys, and then we're going to talk about it. All right. So it says 2 mass shootings in less than a day leave at least 29 dead and 53 injured. The mass shootings in El Paso, Texas, and Dayton, Ohio, happened only 13 hours apart, highlighting America's ongoing struggle with gun violence. All right. So I'm going to read a little bit. And this article is written by Doha Madani of NBC News. Over 13 hours and nearly 1,600 miles apart, 2 mass shootings this weekend left at least 29 dead and 53 injured, leaving the country reeling from yet more gruesome scenes of violence and death. On Saturday morning, a gunman opened fire into a crowd in El Paso, Texas, at an El Paso, Texas retail area that is popular among local residents and shoppers from just across the southern border with Mexico. Then, early Sunday, a shooter attacked a crowd of people at a popular bar in Dayton, Ohio, as patrons were enjoying a night out. one suspect in custody in the El Paso case. Excuse me. One suspect was in custody in the El Paso case, and federal prosecutors were treating it as a domestic terrorism case. In Dayton, officers responding killed the gunman. Both attacks follow a week in which Gilroy, California, Brooklyn, New York, and Philadelphia were all struck by gun violence. What do we know about El Paso? At least 20 are dead, and another 26 are injured at a Walmart. All right. And around the nearby Cielo Vista Mall. Police received their first calls. We're not going to talk about that. The male was brought into custody. All right. That's El Paso. What do we know about Dayton? At least 9 were killed and 27 injured outside the Ned Pepper's bar in Dayton, Ohio. Police in the area responded to the shooting just after 1 a.m. The shooter was wearing body armor and carrying multiple rounds of ammunition. He was shot and killed about a minute after the attack began. But a minute after the attack began, he had already killed 9 people and injured 27. 2 mass shootings, 29 dead, 53 injured. Now, we have to ask ourselves in this country, what does that mean? That a person within a minute, I just want to talk right now. I just want to talk about the Dayton situation. Within a minute, what up, Larry? Within a minute, there are 9 people dead and 27 injured. Within a minute. So you know he wasn't using a pap, 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 pap. That wasn't a 9mm. That wasn't a handgun. That wasn't a revolver. No, it was an assault rifle, which goes back to a discussion we've been having for quite some time. And I don't understand why we're still having this discussion. Why are assault rifles so easy to get your hands on for public consumption, for public use? Why? Could it be because we need them? I mean, again, maybe there's this giant need for us to have assault rifles that can fire off hundreds of rounds a minute. But I don't see that need. I don't see that being a beneficial thing to any of us. 9 people dead, 27 injured in a minute. The police killed him after a minute. He'd already hit 36 people. That's crazy, y'all. That's crazy. That's crazy. We live in a world where that is something that we can see and just scroll past. How? How is that possible? And at what point do we become complicit in these things? At what point do we as the citizens become complicit in these issues? When you can have 29 people dead and 53 injured in 2 murder cases. That's just 2 suspects. Now, Larry, great question. Who should have access to assault guns? I think assault guns should only be used in like wartime situations. Like when you're talking about wars, military stuff, like I think they should have it. I don't think the police should have assault weapons. I don't think that hunters should have assault weapons. I think only the military should have access to that kind of weaponry. It doesn't make sense for anybody else to have it. And if you're being completely honest, the military really doesn't need it. Like massive killing weapons, like who does it benefit? Other than the people who are selling the assault weapons. Because even in war, it doesn't really benefit us to kill a bunch of people at one time. And just being honest. But if there's a situation where people should have them, I can see the military having them. Just as the purpose of, a lot of times you protect these military bases and you want to make sure that people have a very, very, very valid reason to not run up on a military base. As somebody who served in the military and understands what it takes to protect a military base, I could see that. Now, when I was in the military, I never got my hands on any automatic or semi-automatic. Well, the M16 is a semi-automatic rifle, but you can only fire in 3-round bursts with an M16. That's too much. I mean, that's more than really y'all need to know as the viewers, but I can see that being the case is my general point. But it's no reason for civilians to have their hands on military style weapons at all. Hunters don't need military style weapons. So let's spin that forward to the further discussion, right? So not to make it a racial thing, but these discussions do tend to get racial. Why do they tend to get racial? They tend to get racial because of the way this case is being handled. And our president has already made a point of it to say the thing that we knew was coming. Mental illness is an issue in our country. Mental illness is an issue in our country. And I'll start by asking, is mental illness an issue in our country? Yes. Mental illness is an issue in our country. But it seems like the only time that we hear about this mental illness issue is when it involves these mass shooters who are overwhelmingly, I think of the only mass shooter that I can think of that wasn't a Caucasian male was the guys in DC, the man with his son in DC. Other than that, every other mass shooter was Caucasian male. Now, I'm not saying that we should fear all Caucasian males or that, Caucasian males are dangerous, but I would tell you this. If that was a black kid or a black man or a black woman, they wouldn't be talking about mental illness for that person. I don't think anybody would be saying how, we have a discussion about how mental illness in our country is something that we need to be addressing, or, the person was a good person. I don't understand where that came from. We wouldn't be saying any of that as a country. And if anybody disagrees with me, again, you have the right to disagree with me, and I welcome that discussion. I welcome that discussion. If you feel like I'm being a bit myopic in front of these things, but I've seen how cases are handled. I've seen how these things have been discussed over time. I believe that we all have seen it. I believe that we all have seen it over time, and we all have seen the way that these things are talked about when we're talking about mental illness, when we're talking about a shooting, right? And I'm going to spin this forward, so trust me, I'm going somewhere. What is purging? What is pushing these things on? What is making these things happen? We have to ask ourselves this question. And we also have to ask ourselves, what do a lot of these shooters have in common? What do a lot of these shooters have in common? Well, we already talked about the race thing, so I'm not going to go there too much. But what I do want to talk about, and what I would like to address, is the fact that a lot of these guys seem to have white supremacy as their calling card. They tend to have views that are shared by the white nationalist movement. We currently have an administration that feels as though white nationalists are, in many cases, fine people. I've never met a fine white nationalist. I'm sorry. Maybe you have. And if you have experiences with your great memories of white nationalists, please put them in the comment section, because I'd love to read them. To me, it's not a Republican Democrat thing. To me, it's not even a white black thing. It's a white supremacy thing. Well, people say, well, there are people who, believe in black nationalism. Well, I know a lot of black nationalists. Not one black nationalist is committing mass murders. Not one. I don't know of one. And I know a lot of black nationalists. I don't know one black nationalist committing mass murders. I don't know of any black nationalists plotting mass murders. But we talk about these white nationalists, man, like when they say, so this sort of gets me to a discussion I was having with some friends one time. And I don't want to say who the friends are because I don't want them to feel isolated. But in this discussion, we were talking about the idea of black love. When we hashtag black love, which is, a big thing. Oh, what up, Danielle? Hey, Mia. My name is Robin. I posted a picture and people were like, hey, I love seeing, black love because, seeing my relationship with my wife. And they're like, oh, good to see black love. People talk black entertainment television. We have all these things with the word black in them. And why is that necessary? Well, if you're not black, you probably won't understand it. You probably won't understand it. But I'm going to try my best to explain to you why that's a thing and why it's not something that's anti something else. For so long, it's been that African Americans didn't have access to certain things. We haven't had access to certain things. This is history. This is not something me making it up. What am I? This is not me making stuff up. This is not me saying, hey, no. For a long time, one, blacks have not owned television networks. So when one black person named Bob Johnson started a television network, it was literally black owned. So black entertainment, it's literally black entertainment. He made entertainment for black people. Now, does that mean that white people can't watch it? No. In the same way that normal television isn't made where not black people couldn't watch it, but it wasn't for us. Like they weren't like, hey, how can I appeal to the African American community when I was creating this TV show? How can I appeal to the African American community when I'm putting this commercial out there? Like these things are black in every sense of the word. And in that way, you had black entertainment television. It wasn't anti-white television, it was just pro-black, which is dope. Now, when you talk about things like white supremacy means that you believe that whites are supreme. Think about the word, white supreme, white supremacy. So you're saying that whites are supreme to other races. That's a problem. There's nobody around here talking about black supremacy. I've never heard anybody talk about black supremacy. Maybe in sports, I don't know. But even in that case, like it's not like, everybody else has to, and that's sort of the thing about white supremacy that I've found to be the most troublesome. It's like in order for whites to be great, everyone else has to be less than. So we have to make sure that these people don't have access to the same things that we do, because if they get access to the same things that we have, then they could be on our level. Why is that what scares you? Like, think about it. Why is that the thing that scares you? Unless you believe that your supremacy is based on the fact that you've always had access to all the resources that nobody else had access to. And I would tell you that that doesn't make you supreme at all. If in order to be great, you have to tear down other people, you're not that great. And I'm not talking about all white people, because I have, oh God, I hate when people say that. I have lots of white friends. I do. I've met great people of all races, but they're equally great. I've never thought that white people were better than me. I never thought they were worse than me, but I never thought they were better than me. And I've never felt like I was better than them. You shouldn't feel like somebody's better than you. So I understand if they're like, okay, cool, white people have the right to think that they're great. They do. Everybody has the right to think that they're great. And honestly, if somebody were to tell me, oh, well, I believe in black power because I want to see, black people rise up and do great things, definitely. I believe in that too. But that doesn't mean that we need to tear down white people, or we need to tear down Hispanics, or we need to tear down Asians. We don't. We can all be great. We can all be great. And we're all great for different reasons. You know what I mean? But that's the stuff that's spurring these shootings on, man. If you look at the continual thread through all of these mass shootings, all of these mass shootings have been spurred on by some form of hate. Hate. That's the continual thread. That's the continual thread for this. Hate. People hate. These mass shootings are spurred on by hate. Whether you hate immigrants, or you hate black people, or you hate Asians, or you hate gay people, or you hate trans people, whatever you hate, that's the thread. And when you hate something so much, that you're willing to remove people from this earth way before their time, there's something wrong with you. And I'd like to live in a world where our president realizes that's wrong and that we should do something about it. I don't think that's too much to ask. That's just something that really sticks with me, is the fact that we have these things happening, and we have yet to have a call from Congress. So we've had calls from presidents to have sensible gun reform. We're not trying to amend the Second Amendment. We're not trying to take away your guns. But you should not have access to assault rifles. Nobody should have access to assault rifles. How many times do we need to say that? How many times does the obvious need to be stated before we realize there's a problem? That problem is hate. That problem is hate. Spinning that forward, we're not going to stay on the white supremacy thing, too long. Spinning that forward. I also wanted to talk about a tweet that was sent out in response to this. All right. It was by a guy by the name of Tyson DeGrassi. I want to share it out with you guys. Thank you guys for watching Real Talk with ReZsaun. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. If this is your first time watching, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys watching. We are starting off with some pretty heavy stuff this time, talking about these mass shootings and the responses there too. We've talked about white supremacy. We've talked about a lot of things already so far, and we've only been on the show, about 15 minutes. So thank you guys for watching with me. Thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to watch this show. But it's something I enjoy doing. I'm trying to spark discussion, man. I want to spark discussion. I want us to engage discussions about things in this world that matter. But there's a lot in this world that we talk about. Not all of it matters. Just being honest. And I want to engage in discussions that will lead to the changing and the betterment of our world. Sorry. So I wanted to share this with you guys as well. I'm going to put this in the comment section. The response of Neil deGrasse. All right. So Neil deGrasse Tyson. It says over the last 48 hours, the USA horrifically lost 34 people to mass shootings. On average, across any 48 hours, we also lose 500 to medical errors, 300 to the flu, 250 to suicide, 200 to car accidents, and 40 to homicide via handgun. Often our emotions respond to more to spectacle than to data. So I'm going to read that again. It says, in the past 48 hours, the USA horrifically lost 34 people to mass shootings. On average, across any 48 hours, we also lose 500 to medical errors, 300 to the flu, 250 to suicide, 200 to car accidents, and 40 to homicide via handgun. Often our emotions respond more to spectacle than to data. Yeah. And to that I say yes. Yes, we do. We definitely do. All those things are factually true, right? That's a lot of people to die to these things. 500 to medical errors. If there's 500 people dying every 48 hours to medical errors, guess what we're probably doing? We probably are working to better the medical process. Right? 300 people died to the flu. We have vaccines, inoculations. Inoculations, that's what I'm looking for. We have these things to deal with stopping the spread of the flu. Vaccinations. 250 to suicide. Mental health. We talk about it all the time. We have all these initiatives designed to stop suicide. Does it always work? No. 200 car accidents. How many car safety commercials, events, companies working on ways to make better drivers and make safer cars? 40 to homicide via handgun in every 48 hours. That one I have no answer to. But we are working on crime prevention. Guess what we don't have, Neil deGrasse Tyson? Anything stopping mass shooters. That's my response to that. We need to have some kind of effort built towards stopping these mass shooters. And until we get actual action, I don't want to hear your tweets about that. Like I don't Don't tell me, oh, people are dying over here too. Oh, people are dying from being sick. No, 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 no. We have a singular issue that we're talking about here. The singular issue is people have too much access to assault weapons. That's it. That's all I'm going to say there. All right. That's the issue. And if we don't, if he doesn't agree, I mean, he has the right to not agree, but people shouldn't have access to assault weapons. It just makes sense. I'm sorry. Moving forward, I wanted to talk about the Democratic debate. Thank you guys so much again for watching Real Talk with ReZsaun. I am your host, ReZsaun Lewis. If this is your first time watching, I appreciate it. What's up, Otis? Hey, Juice. Hey, Sam Bam. What's up, bro? Hey, Felicia. Hey, Taisha. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Who else am I missing? I already said what up, Mike. All right, so I want to talk about the Democratic debate. Let's talk about this Democratic debate. Last week, RJ, give me some water. Last week we had the Democratic debate where we had 20 candidates. I believe this one was held by CNN, and it was really interesting to watch. I am somebody who considers himself to be a political junkie of sorts. You know, I follow I follow a lot of political news. I follow when on debate nights, that's like sort of a playoff game to me. I like watching debates. I like analyzing the comments. I like following the discussions and seeing, you know, what comes of it. But the thing that stuck out to me from last week's debate, and this is something I've talked about before, is there was a clean distinction between the progressives and the moderates in the Democratic Party. And Mom, there's a clean distinction between the moderates and progressive of the Democratic Party. Now, I'll make sure that I don't assume that everybody knows what I'm talking about. When we talk about progressives, that's your far, far left people when we're talking about terms of when we're talking in terms of political ideologies. Far, far left, meaning free everything for everybody kind of stuff. Then we have the more moderates, which are considered to be more centrist. All right. Now, the thing about this is when President Obama ran in 2007, when he ran in 2007 for the 2008 election, people largely said that President Obama was too far left. He was too liberal. And if you look at the things that President Obama was pushing for, like literally people called President Obama a socialist. And what he wanted was healthcare, a universal healthcare system. He wanted prison reform. He wanted tax reform. And these people that are running now, these progressives, say that President Obama was too far right. Yeah, that's how far we've come. That's how far we've come as a nation, to the fact that where President Obama is seen as too far right. How is that possible? But with that being said, there's a big distinction between moderates and progressives. Now, the big issue that I saw between the moderates and progressives that were, I don't want to give anybody any free pub. The moderates were, the progressives are running on things like universal health care, or what they call is health care for all, Medicaid for all. Now, Medicare for all. Now, that in many cases means that people will be losing their independent insurance in favor of a government-run system. And I don't know if that's something that is ever going to get passed. Just being honest. Medicare for all. Free college, free health care, reparations was a big issue that was brought up. And then, of course, the attacks. I don't want to spend too much time on the attacks, but I do find that the attacks that are happening between the Democratic Party, members, quote unquote, friendly fire, is pretty much gonna win the election for President Trump if they continue. Because who needs joke writers when you got, who needs to write your own jokes when you got joke writers? When the people that you're going to be running against are already making the case for why the person that you are going to be going against shouldn't be the person, that makes it a lot easier. And that's a lot of what happens. And I think, honestly, That's the biggest issue and the biggest flaw when we talk about the large pool of candidates that we currently have. Because we have such a large pool of candidates, that means that everybody's going to try to take their shots, right? Everybody's going to take their shots. And it's just like if I went out and I played basketball. If I played basketball against somebody one-on-one, I have a 50% chance of winning, right? So if it's one-on-one, we have we can give each other our best shot because we're probably, if not equal, we're somewhere around the same level. But if I have to go against 19 other people in a game of basketball, that lessens my chances of being able to win, even if I'm the best player. Because guess what could happen? Somebody who's the 19th best player on the court can decide that they just don't want to see me win and focus all their energy on destroying me on the court. They could be undercutting me. They could be just playing defense to stop me from winning the game. I may be the best player on the court, and they could still do that. They could hold me. They could push me down. They could do all these things to stop me from winning the game. That's largely what's happening. The people who don't have nearly as much of a shot, like think about the most notable comments that came in these debates when you're talking about attacks, right? The guy who I called Orange Tie went after Joe Biden and was talking about how, how they needed to hand the reins over to the younger people. And then you have Tulsi, who went after Kamala Harris, right? Tulsi Gabbard does not have a shot to win the debate, win the presidency. She has no shot. But who was she going after? One of the top three. She went after Kamala Harris with her statements on her statements on how her track record in the prosecutor's office in California. Then we also have Castro, who went after Beto, right? We have Booker, who's going after Biden. Like the whole point is for everybody to go after the people who are on the top. Nobody's going at those people on the bottom. So I'm gonna give you that same basketball game. What's up, Christine? That same basketball game. I'm playing a basketball game, and I'm playing against 20 other people. Anybody who ever played 21 knows exactly what I'm talking about. We're playing a game of 21, and this person who is not nearly as good as me is coming after me over and over and over again. I don't think we should get to a presidential primary, and have 20 candidates. I don't think so. Now, that is not to say that people who are running for the presidency shouldn't be challenged. No. What I'm saying is you shouldn't be able to be challenged by everybody. We should have some kind of requirement that says that the people we're going to put forward on these debate stages especially are people with a certain percentage of polling numbers or fundraising or whatever. Like whatever it takes, like we need to find a number where this doesn't happen. Because we all lose when the family feuds. Shout out to Jay-Z. We all lose when the family feuds. There's no Democratic, nobody on that stage is winning. Right now, nobody on that stage is winning. And that's not to say that people's records shouldn't be challenged. That's not to say people's records shouldn't be challenged. Another minute situation happened during the debate. Senator Gillibrand from from New York. Senator Gillibrand from New York challenged Joe Biden on something that she herself didn't believe to be a genuine thing. And that's the kind of stuff that you end up happening. Because now you have 20 candidates, 10 on the stage at a time, all trying to get their digs in on the other person. And it's not like they have a long time to go at or characterize. And I'm going to come back to that, Juice. It's not like they have a long time to really respond to it. You have a minute to speak, right? If you're directly spoken to. You have 30 seconds to respond if you're challenged. You have 15 seconds to speak. Excuse me. You have 15 seconds to speak if nobody's talking to you and you just want to get a comment in. Tell me what kind of good explanation you can get in 30 seconds to somebody saying, you're a sexist. Well, no. Because Gillibrand came after Biden on a comment that he made in 1981. In 1981, now that's 37 years ago. I know because I was born in 1981, right? She went after him, and then when he called her out and was like, hey, But since then, you and I have both worked with women who work outside of their home, and you've complimented me on that. So she's worked with this man all these years, had nothing to say, and then she decides to run for president, and that becomes the comment that she holds on to. Not even noting that in the comment in that article that she's talking about, in the article that she was referring to, Vice President Biden actually was saying that his wife was a school teacher who worked outside the home at the time. So how can he at that time be being sexist about women working outside the home if in the comment section he talks about the fact in the editorial he talks about the fact that he's proud of his wife who works outside the home. That means you're taking a little piece of what I said and trying to make it the whole conversation. You're trying to make it the whole debate disingenuously to mislead people into thinking one thing that you don't even think. And I guess that's politics, but Now, coming back to Juice's point, I absolutely agree with what you just said. I loved when she went after Harris. A lot of people truly don't realize her track record of putting people behind bars. True. But Juice, let's think about this. What was Kamala Harris's job? She was a prosecutor. The prosecutor's job is to put people behind bars. So if you're a prosecutor, the way to do your job effectively is to put the most people in jail. Now, I'm not saying that I agree with it. I'm not saying that I think that her methods were all right, were all great, because if what they're saying, if what she brought up, if what Tulsi Gabbard brought up was true, and that she withheld evidence that would allow a innocent man to walk, then yeah, she deserves all the criticism she's getting. But you can't get mad at a prosecutor for putting people in jail. Like, that's like getting mad at a trash man for getting rid of the most trash. You can't. You can't get mad at her for that. That's her job. It's like the teacher for having the most students graduate. That's her job. You don't become the prosecutor and not put people in jail. That's her track record of putting people in jail. Now, if she's unrightfully prosecuting people, if she's doing underhanded things, if there's proof that she's done underhanded things to prosecute criminals, prosecute people who were innocent, then yeah, that's a problem. You can't do that. That's not cool. And she deserves to be called out on that if that's what she did. For me, there's a lot of things that I would change about the way they're running this primary. One, like I said, I wouldn't allow all these people in. But if they do allow people in, there should be a way for us to get from having 10 candidates on stage to maybe 5 by the end of the debate. And I've already suggested this once, but I'm going to suggest it again, is that we go to an American Idol style format where you start with all the people on the stage, and after every commercial break, we can vote a person. We, the American citizens, can vote a person off the stage. And then we'll get down to the people that we really want to hear from. I'm just saying. Also, they have the rule that if you talk during somebody else's time, they're supposed to go against your time. They should be taking time off of your ability to speak. Crystal Simmons, shout out to Crystal, had a great idea on how to deal with that. Tase podiums. If you're talking and it's not your time to talk, you should be tased. There should be an automatic taser that goes off at your podium. I think that would shut it down. That would shut down all the screaming and all the cutting into people's time. Tase podiums. Who's with me? Hashtag tase podium. Put that down here. Hashtag tase podiums. Let's make it a thing, y'all. But seriously, I think they definitely should. They should start out with all the candidates. So start out with the 10. If you just want to get all these people on the stage, cool. But let's cut down the time. Let's cut after every, do polling data. We use these phones for everything else. Let's put a poll up on NBC.com or CBS or CNN.com. Who would you like to see removed from the stage? And after every commercial break, sorry, Senator Gildebrand, You got to get out of here. Your time, you've been voted off the island. Vote them off the island. In fact, in that way, we can start, we can have as many as they want. But if we can vote these people off the stage, get down to final five, and then the next one, you start, if you're the first person that's put off the island, then the next time you don't get asked to come back. Sorry, you can run as long as you want to, but you will not be welcome back to the presidential debate stage. No more. Sorry, that's over. So you can run your campaign without debates, being involved in debates as long as you want to. But we don't need 20 people on the stage for 3 hours apiece. We don't. And this has been Real Talk with ReZsaun. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to continue on to my next topic. What time is it? 7:47. I'm going to start. I got one more topic, and then I'm going to go to I guess I'll just say this. My last topic that I wanted to talk about in the current events section was R. Kelly was recently denied bail for his. He was denied bail in New York. He's denied bail in New York City. He's currently being held for, of course, you guys know, another underage sex thing. That dude got issues. That dude has real issues. Sorry, I'm opening up the article. It says R. Kelly is denied bail after pleading not guilty to sex crime charges. He's pleading not guilty to New York court to federal charges, including racketeering that alleged that he systematically recruited girls for sex while touring. Yeah. To that I say, so what? So what? Any other comments about that? Yeah, that's really all I wanted to say. Is don't do it. I mean, like you shouldn't like. We know what R. Kelly is. Like we've known what R. Kelly has been for quite some time, and let's not. That's one person I probably never have sympathy for is R. Kelly as a father of 4 daughters. I'm sorry. You may think R. Kelly is the bee's knees. I'm not with you. I wanted to talk about one more thing, and then we get out of here. All right, so I just shared it out, and I want to talk about relationships, right? So I'm 37 years old. I've been married to my wife for 12 years now. We've been together for 14 years. And people often ask me, like how what is it about you guys that allows you to thrive in your relationship? And I will tell you this. The thing that I think that has helped me and my wife the most is that we never stopped dating. And the times that we've struggled, it's been because we didn't date. Like never stop dating. In your relationship, the thing, the common saying is whatever you did to get her, you need to keep doing. You need to make time for the person that you're with. And that's not, I'm not a relationship expert. I'm not a guru or nothing like that. But I definitely understand the principle that if you love somebody, you should make them feel special. And people feel special when they have alone time with you. Yes, y'all may go places together. Y'all may be around each other all the time. But that's not the same as, hey, let's go out. I'm going to take you to a movie. I'm going to take you to dinner. I'm going to take you to the beach and just talk out nonsense. Talk about our lives. Tell me about the minutia. Like, that's how you stay connected. It's important in a relationship to stay connected to the person that you say you love. And how do we stay connected? A lot of times we stay connected through our dating time. Me and my wife, we have we try to go on a date every Friday, and it's not always something that we spend a lot of money on. And most times it's not something that we spend a lot of money on. Most of the times when we go out on dates, it's something as simple as let's go to dinner and let's just talk. Let's drive around the city and talk. Let's go to a movie. There's so many things you can do. Go to a park. Just walk through a park and just enjoy nature and realize and just remember what made you fall in love with that person in the first place. That's important. I can't guarantee you that that's going to save your marriage. I can't guarantee you that that's going to save your relationship. But I can tell you have a better chance if you take the time with the person that you love to spend time with them. If you do that, it's beneficial. Again, like I said, I can't guarantee you that's going to save your relationship if y'all are already struggling. But I would tell you, and most people who know anything about relationships will tell you that you got to spend time together. You have to spend actual time together where you're not, on your phone, where you're not, entertaining other people, when you're just being together. And as a person who's really, really busy, as a person who has a pretty full schedule, I think it's important that you find times and find ways to do that. It has been beneficial to me and to my wife. I hope that, that's something that if you are having a situation, and also have a positive group of people who support your relationship around your relationship. Like, don't bring negative people around your relationship who don't care about you or your relationship, because those people will put you in situations where what that can hurt your relationship. So if your homeboys are always trying to get you to go to the script club, like all the time, like, hey man, let's go out to the club and let's go, and like, forget about your wife. Like, if that's your homeboys, at some point that's going to become your way of thinking, and that's going to hurt your relationship long term. And I don't want to see that happen to you. Have relationship mentors. I'm not saying that anybody's relationship is perfect, but have people who can give you game. Get to know some older people who've been married for a really long time. I got my aunties and my uncles. I got my auntie Carol and my Uncle Lou. I have my uncle Myron, my auntie Janice. Like, I have like couples that I know that have been married 30, 40, 50 years now. And I look to them for guidance. I look to them for support. Sometimes I just watch them. Sometimes I don't even have to ask questions. I just watch how they interact. And the happy relationships that have lasted this long, I'm not talking people who just refuse to get divorced because they have kids. Nah, I'm not talking about them. No, I'm talking about people like my auntie and uncle who go on a cruise every year. They go on a cruise every year and they just kick it. She still makes posts about, on social media about her husband and the nice things that he does for her. He still, takes the time to say how beautiful she is. He makes a point of it to make sure she knows, that there's no other woman in the world for her and for him. Now, they've been together for 30-something years. 30 years. They're running about 30 years next year, and he still does that. If he's doing that, then I better be doing that at 14 years. You better be doing that at 5 years. If at 5 years you think I don't need to tell her that I love her because she should know. No, bruh. If at 5 years, young lady, you think, well, I don't need to tell him that I think he's handsome. I'm with him, ain't I? Yes, you do. Do you know why? Because when that person leaves that house, I promise you, somebody told him, I really like that outfit. I like that outfit you're wearing. I think that's nice. A young lady told him, I like that haircut. You look real handsome today. And when you don't get that at home, if you're not getting that at home, then it sounds a lot better in these here streets. I thank God that I have a wife, when I get a haircut, she's like, hey, baby, looking good. Like that means something to me. So when I go on the streets and somebody's like, hey, ReZsaun, nice haircut. You're looking good. I'm like, oh, cool. Thank you. My wife already told me so. I know. Think about it. I'm not, like I said, I don't know everything, but the things that I know, I gladly share with you guys. All right. That's my relationship segment for the day. And now I'm going to sort of do my final. Yep, 7:56. I'm going to do my final thoughts. And my final thoughts are happy birthday. Happy birthday to the 44th president of the United States of America, Barack Hussein Obama. Shout out to my president, my forever president. Like, honestly, I'll probably be 90-something years old. Until my son becomes president, President Obama will be my favorite president. In many ways, President Obama changed my life. And you may say, President Obama didn't do anything for you, which if you look at legislation that was passed and that he tried to pass during his presidency, I would tell you that you're wrong, but that's another issue for another day. But President Obama's birthday is today. I want to tell him happy birthday. I saw President Obama speak at North Charleston High School in 2007, and I realized at that time I was selling insurance, with Bankers Life and Casualty life insurance. And after that day, I realized that I wasn't doing nearly enough to impact my community and the world. And that day changed my life. So I want to tell President Obama, happy birthday. I hope that Michelle and Malia and Sasha do something really, really nice for you today because you deserve all of it. With that being said, I'm going to end the show. With that being said, I'm going to end the show. Thank you so much for watching this week. And reminder that the show is now split into two parts. Wednesdays at 7 p.m., I interview my local celebrities. And on Sundays at 7 p.m., is my normal show. Now, this week's local celebrity spotlight is going to shine on Dr. Zakivia Kendrick Lewis, who is the founder of the Jeremiah Kendrick Memorial Foundation. That's it. Tune in as we discuss her foundation and how she is working to change the community. If you'd like to be made aware, if you're doing something in the community that you would like to get a light shined on, please reach out to me on the Real Talk lines at 843-900-6847. That's 843-900-6847, or at realtalkwithReZsaun@gmail.com. So we can discuss getting you on the show. If you'd like to be made aware of when I go live, because sometimes it is unscheduled, please be sure to click the follow tab on the page and turn on notifications so that you will know when something new has been posted to the page. In the meantime, please follow me on Twitter at Real Talk ReZsaun, on Facebook at Real Talk with ReZsaun, on YouTube. Follow me on YouTube. Shout out YouTube viewers. Thank you guys. On Real Talk with ReZsaun, on Periscope at Real Talk ReZsaun, on Instagram at Real Talk ReZsaun. Also, follow my podcast. If you have Apple, Google Play. If you have Apple Podcasts, Google Play, any podcast, if you go to Real Talk with ReZsaun, you can pull up my podcast, watch it. I really enjoy it. It's just the audio version of this, but I also put extras on there as well. Please feel free to leave comments, questions, or whatever else you'd like to say in the comment section or message section. I love reading your messages and getting the feedback, even if it's negative. If you watch the show and you like the show, ReZsaun, I watched it, I liked it, and here's why. If you watch it and you hated it, hey, ReZsaun, I watched it, I hated it, and here's why. I want to grow, I want to get better. I am currently accepting invitations and speaking engagements and event hosting opportunities. If you'd like to speak with me, have me speak or host your event, please request me on Facebook or at realtalkwithreZsaun@gmail.com. And always remember, in closing, if a man doesn't stand for something, he is bound to fall for anything. Now that is real talk. I will see y'all soon. Peace. And that's how we do it.